Hello, my friends. I'm sure you're still excited about this final that is happening now in the clutch chess, and just saw the games today, of course, and just saw the last game recently finished, and luck certainly was on Caruana's side, even though he played worse chess probably today than Magnus, but he fought till the end and finally got his luck there in the last game. Magnus blundered in a winning position, and then he finished the game. And now it's even before the last day of the final. So, yeah, anyway, I'm not going to look at these games now. Maybe one day we will have a look at these games if I find something exciting there or something to analyze and share with you. But in general, I want to come back to the FIDE World Cup 2019, and I want to start with the quarterfinal against Jeffrey Sion. And well, up to that round, I won the previous match against Mamidyarov, and he won his match against Duda. It was late on that day that we both finished the matches, and the next day in the first game he didn't try much as white, and it ended in a draw. It was quite a peaceful game in general, even though I mean it still was a game with some, with some kind of play, but in general it was close to equal throughout the game, pretty much, and just ended in a draw. And in the second one, I was playing as white. Certainly, I was facing a very strong opponent, a very promising player from USA, and he already showed his class in exactly that World Cup by beating Anish Giri and then Duda, and generally showing a good play and good tactical skills and so on. So it was a very serious matchup, and of course, the second game was kind of important for me because I didn't really want to play the rapids or anything else because I was not sure about the amount of energy left there at that stage, at that at that point. And in general, well, I was trying to go all in this game, and you will see how it happened there. So let's see what happened in the game. So I'll just show you, there is some picture of that round thing here. So we can see this game that we're going to see now was played. We can see it on the FIDE side, and so also some YouTube videos and stuff that you can see there, maybe some interviews or postmortems and so on. And okay, so now let's see what happened in the game. So once again, the first game ended in draw. And now we're going to see the second game. And as you know, there are two games in the World Cup, two classical games that you play against each opponent before the final. Only the final is 4 classical games. And in case of tie, there are tie breaks and so on. So it was the second game of the quarterfinal match against Young. And we're going to see it now. So d4, knight f6, c4, g6, knight c3, d5, c takes d5, knight takes d5, e4, knight c3, b takes c3. So Grunfeld, and bishop g7. So now just a moment, I will put on the engine. Something is not working well here. So yeah. Okay, just had to reconnect. Now it seems fine. Yep. So bishop x3, bishop g7, and I found an interesting line to try to put some kind of problems just out of the opening immediately to make him think, because it's not a very usual way of playing against Grunfeld. And I went for the bishop b5 line. Bishop b5 check. There are many moves. Black can go bishop d7 here. They can go the main way, the way he went, c6, which is the most natural actually. So bishop a4. Now black has a lot of plans, but certainly castle is simply just a normal way to play this. Knight e2. Of course not here on f3 because I mean bishop is already far there, so it can't protect the knight after bishop g4 with bishop e2. So it's very far there. So all these pawns on c3 and d4 will be attacked, and certainly c5 will come, or b5, b4, and so on will come at some point. So certainly not knight f3. The whole point is to go knight e2 here. So knight e2. And he went one of the possible plans. It seemed that he didn't know much about this position, and to be honest, I think not too many players know a lot about this position. It's simply a playable position for both sides. And I mean, there is no developed theory that everybody knows that leads to something, you know, some direct, straightforward lines that lead to equality or anything else. It's just a playable position in general, probably dynamically equal, and with chances for both sides. So simply a playable position. And there are different plans. For example, black can also go b5, a5, bishop a6, trying to attack the center from the other side, like then bishop a6 and some b4 at some point, or developing the knight to d7, then b4, c5, c5, b4, and so on. So it's one of the possibilities, for example. Also, the way he went is just a normal way, so it's a5. But it was exactly what I prepared. I also looked at b5, of course, and this e5 mostly, and tried some other natural ways for black. But it seemed to me that it's a possible try for the game, at least. So e5, castles, knight d7, bishop e3, queen e7. Very natural way. I mean, black is blocking all this e4, d4 pawns, attacking e4 now. At some point, f5 may come, and also, I mean, there are some threats of knight b6, bishop e6, bringing the knight to c4, which is now the weak square, more or less, in white's camp. So, yeah. So after queen e7, white goes for bishop c2, protecting e4 because he takes d4 was already threatening there. So bishop c2, knight b6, very natural. Knight goes to c4, as I said earlier. I mean, it's possible that you know, if white just stays, I mean, they will have some positional problems, I guess, with this knight c4, then bishop e6, and so on. At some point, maybe rook d8, f5, b5, or whatever, and it will be hard to generate any play, and bishop will also have to move somewhere. So in general, the whole point of white strategy is that they're going here for f4. Yeah. So after f4, I mean, for example, if black plays, let's say one of the possible ways is to go knight c4, then also white has different moves, but bishop f2, let's say, is possible. ef, knight f4, but it's not very natural because, I mean, all these pawns, d4 and d4, are still in the center. Somewhere this bishop b3 is coming as well. Usually you don't want to play like this, to let the center simply stay there, and, you know, always a lot of the streaks and so on. With e5, you know, the bishop is still not very much playing here and so on. But after bishop f2, ef, knight f4, the whole point of this direct play is bishop h6. So bishop h6, and now white has to decide. Either they can go for g3, protecting the knight, and then later on trying to play in the center, but position remains very, very, very unclear. So it's like black can go b5. At some point, maybe they can even take on f4 like this, and then maybe take on f4 and somewhere f5. They also have their chances. So bishop b3 is possible here, for example, after b5, or queen e2 is possible here after b5, let's say. And position remains very unclear. So the another way after bishop h6 is to play, for example, queen d3. Knight a3, let's say. Bishop g3. So keeping the center, but giving up the bishop. So it's also very double-edged. Well, I mean, it's a very unclear position. Black will probably go f5 and probably remains around equal, well, just playable position for both sides simply. So it's hard to say who's better, so it's just unclear. But that was a possibility, but it's not very natural. I mean, it's not also kind of way that you really thinking, I mean, that you're really thinking about during the game, because in such positions to play this e takes f4, all the sequence with knight c4, e takes f4, and bishop h6 is not very natural, and you are not sure about the evaluation afterwards. After bishop h6, it's hard to say what's going on, to be honest. So more natural ways to play like Jeffrey went here after f4. So yeah, also another way just after f4 ef is bishop f4 that I would probably, I mean, for example, if black goes e takes f4, just bishop f4, let's say. Yeah, like here, e takes f4. Because the point could be that after knight takes f4, black can go some bishop f5. Maybe some ideas like this. e5, knight c4, bishop c1, queen, I mean bishop takes, queen takes, some b5. Then at some point they will go for f6, and then position will be fine for black simply. So hard to say. It's very unclear. So bishop takes f4, let's say, and then some bishop e6, and again trying to play for this blockade, meaning that you are not really threatening a lot here, and always after e5s I will have some f6 as black, and position remains unclear simply for both sides. But yeah, I mean, it is also a possibility here. After f4, e takes f4. But the most natural way probably is what Jeffrey went here, is e takes d4. So e takes d4. I knew this because, I mean, there were some games played. Bishop takes d4. And now I was not really studying much this move. In general, I just briefly looked at the main lines here, like bishop g4 was my main. And now there are two ways, either queen e1 or h3. So both are possible with some variations like this. Queen takes, bishop takes, c takes. And now, let's say rook a d8, queen f2, knight c4, rook a d1. Still some problems that black has to solve. So knight a3, bishop b3, queen e4, and some f5 with initiative. The point being is that after queen takes f5, I can go queen h4, so f7 is hanging, and there is some good play for white here, but it's an unclear position. But in general, the knight is stuck still on a3. Black has to decide some problems. They have some, I mean, black should take some huge decisions here to make to equalize. It's hard to play this, and well, I mean, objectively maybe it's fine for black, but looking at the position without the engine looks kind of dangerous, to be honest. Yeah. So yeah, so after bishop takes d4, c takes d4. Another way to try to equalize immediately is c5, with the point that after d5 there is knight takes d5 simply, and the queen on e2 is hanging. So d5 is not possible. So after c5, maybe one of the ideas could be to play, let's say, if you go, oh, okay, one of the ideas is to play d takes c5, queen takes c5, some king h1, but then black probably can go knight c4, then b5, and they shouldn't be that bad for black. In general, even in some end games, they can just give up one pawn, and some rook endgame will be drawish, and generally rook is coming to d8. It's not that hard to play as black, I think, here. But white can try and play some e5 maybe, instead of d takes c5. For example, after rook a d8, f5, rook d4, rook a1. knight d5, and maybe some rook f3 is computer suggestion with some play. And again, black should be very precise to keep the equality. It's equal, but you know, engine starts to show some moves like b6 that you're not sure what for you're doing this move. Maybe some queen g5, but then you have to be sure about e6, and you know, hard to say what's happening. But it's a mess with the chances for both sides, and certainly white is not risking much here. Black has to defend. Their king is worse, so there are some chances to complicate matters here and create some play for white. So yeah, another way was queen e1 instead of h3, which is more or less the same. Black can also go here after queen e1, take, and bishop takes d4, c takes d4, c5, more or less with the same positions. So it's up to white's player if they want to include h3 or just play this position without h3 in general. Probably h3 is not a bad inclusion there, so I would prefer probably to play with h3. Anyway, so Jeffrey didn't go for bishop g4. He probably didn't like it, simply. Or maybe he didn't see that c5 exchanges the pawn on d4. Maybe he saw that there is some d5 or something far there in the line that I showed now. After h3, bishop e2 takes d4, and so on. Or in general, he saw that maybe the knight is a bit too far and forgot about this knight c4, knight e3 maneuvers and so on. Or maybe generally he didn't like to play without this g7 bishop. So after bishop takes d4, he went rook d8. Rook d8. And f5. Yeah, I mean, more or less I've put this on the engine so that white is kind of better in general. So I was not really stopping much in this position. I mean, really briefly looked at all of these lines. A bit more on bishop g4, but the rest was just improvisation after this. So after f5, I saw that white's chances are very good, but in fact, immediately Jeffrey made the wrong move here, I think, but he took a lot of time. Generally, if you look at the position, it seems that it's already kind of dangerous because I'm threatening f6. All the pieces are just coming, you know, like queen c1 or d2 and to h6, knight g3. Everything is just coming there, you know, to attack the black's king. And certainly it's not so pleasant. Bishop is not yet developed on c8. Rook a8 is stuck there on a8. It's not so clear what to do, actually, because, for example, if black starts to play now for c5, then just f6. Now, if, let's say, queen c7, f takes g7, some bishop e6, because we're not in a hurry to take on d4 as black. There is a very strong move, bishop b3. There are different moves, actually, here after bishop e6. I mean, still, even queen d2 is possible, but bishop b3 is very strong. So bishop b3, and simply after c takes d4, just bishop can take on e6, I guess. F takes e6, c takes d4. Even when black recaptures on g7, you know, I will just have all of my trumps. Like, I'll put my queen on d3, then play some h4, h5. King is very bad there. Knight is always jumping to f4. Like, knight is stuck there on b6, so it's really unpleasant as black here. So the position is simply better for white. So let's go back. So after f6, queen e8. Yeah, so queen e8. F takes g7. Again, let's say bishop e6. Simply queen d2. And, you know, certainly it's still playable, but no doubt I would prefer to be white here. Just, you know, playing for the initiative. Again, to play knight f4, queen f2, h4, h5, and so on. So playing as white here would be an easier task for sure. I mean, it's very complicated to play this position as black. So instead of c5, there was one more move, knight c4, let's say. But then still f6. and more or less we get the same position as if black would go c5, f6, queen c7, f takes g7, and there knight c4, so the same position, transposition. But it's a very unpleasant position as well because of c5. Yeah. Well, I mean, white can go in queen, like c5 here. So let's say queen d3, then knight f4 again. It's just bad in general for black. So Jeffrey goes for bishop takes d4. Practically, maybe the right decision. Probably, objectively, these positions that we were looking now, the c5 with all these knight c4s and bishop e6 are objectively better for black when you're, with engines and so on. But over the board, it's very hard to play those, and bishop d4 maybe looks a bit more natural because c takes d4, c5 is a direct counterplay. Black is threatening to take on d4, play this knight c4 again, and establish blockade on e5. Even though when you look at the position, like, with this kind of sharp attitude, and in general the chess school in Azerbaijan is always like this. When you see the weak king there on g8, you are always sure that whatever happens, there will be a mate somewhere, so you always can go for it. And that's why I took so much time here. I was sure that there is a direct win, and certainly I saw that I'm finding the best way, and it's going to be good for me very fast. But I've missed after my next move, I've missed the reply by black, and things got really complicated. So I'll show you now. But before we go for this, for the game, and we move to the game. So after c5, I mean, let's say if black goes instead of c5, just will show you this. After g takes f5, let's say, is simply, I mean, even e takes f5 is possible, but knight g3, all the pieces are coming to attack black's king here. Queen on h5, e takes f5, rook f4. I mean, everything is just naturally going into attack, and position is very bad for black. So certainly g takes f5 is when you play King's Indian or Grunfeld. I mean, you are not really looking to play g takes f5 and open up the king without the bishop there protecting at least some squares around the king. So I think he didn't consider it much. So c5. Now the great thing about this position is that there is a the forced win. Can I say it's a forced win? It's not a forced win. It's not that it makes you immediately, ask black to resign here in this position. But objectively, it's a winning move, but a very hard one. I'm not really sure that it's so easy to find this, even after a long sink. I mean, I took a long sink here, and I didn't find a way. But certainly, I was kind of close to one of the best moves here, which is queen d3. So queen d3 would be a very good move in general. But the winning move seems to be a4. So a4, the amazing move, to be honest. I mean, it's like, yeah, just want to play a5, some queen d3, g3, and so on. Let's say if black goes knight c4, just queen d3, knight e5, queen g3, c takes d4, knight f4. In general, the whole concept escaped my mind with this queen d3 and g3 and knight f4. I mean, because I saw that when black takes on d4 and puts their knight on e5, they're just okay. But in fact, they're just completely lost in general in this kind of positions, because just the knight goes to f4, threatening to go to d5 at some point, always trying as well to attack there on the flank. I mean, it's always possible to play like f takes g6 at some point, let's say in some lines. And by the support of bishop b3, black is in huge trouble. It's like, I think it's almost impossible to save this. Even, I mean, not even practical. I mean, it's objectively just very bad. So after a4, I mean, yeah, it's just winning for white in general. So we can see also after f4 some c takes d4, let's say, one of the possibilities. But it never works because of bishop b3 simply, and position is just winning. F takes g6, all the stuff, queen d3. Yeah, all of black's pieces are just stuck there on c8 and a8. They can't help their king, and the position is simply winning for white. It's just impossible to play this as black. So a4 was amazing move, but let's come back to ours and be fair that a4 is almost impossible to find here, and the best move instead of this unique a4 is probably queen d3. So again, the whole concept of bringing the queen to g3. So after queen d3, if black goes c takes d4, then just knight f4, again threatening queen g3, bishop b3, and all this attack on the black's king. Well, even the knight is not coming now into the play. So black can't even protect with the knight from e5 and nowhere, so it's just bad. G takes f5, which is one of the best moves after queen d3. Yeah. It's possible to take, e takes f5. Knight d5, rook f3 to avoid queen e3, exchanging the queens. Because with queens we can attack forever, and without it will be problematic. So queen f6, some rook d1, even this is, queen f6, rook d1. Still there are some chances here after bishop d7, but d takes c5, white is still better. But in general, I think there is no need to play like this. There is a better way after g takes f5. So after g takes f5, probably the way is to play just rook f4. Yeah, we're not greedy here. Let's not take pawn back immediately. Just bring the rook there, c takes d4, and now rook af1, and it's completely lost practically, I think. So everything is just collapsing there. Knight is coming as well. It's very tricky. Okay, I'm not threatening to play immediately takes f5 because of some queen e3, but what to do as black? They cannot really move. They should play either bishop e6 or anything else. It's just bad. Some bishop d7, let's say, then knight g3. White is almost winning. So, yeah, queen d3 was a natural way, but in general, I saw that queen d2 is completely winning. So, otherwise, I would just go. If I would, let's say I would have liked to have the same position as in the game, with proceeding with f6 and then d5 or something like that. Then I would just go f6 here simply, and let's say after queen wherever f8, let's say we play just d5 and get the same position as in the game, but with 5 temp is up simply. So yeah, but I did queen d2. Instead, I could go also. One of the moves could be f takes g6, h takes g6, queen d3, some bishop g4, knight f4, rook d4, queen g3. For human eyes, yeah, close to winning, but Compi suggests that after bishop d7, black is not lost here. They're still defending, even though it looks so bad, after e5 or rook a1 later, rook is coming to e7. Objectively keepable, but very hard. Also knight h5 is possible here. A lot of tricks, very unpleasant in a practical game, but after some analysis, maybe black can kind of defend this position, and objectively maybe it's not much for white. So instead of f takes g6 as well, there was an idea of e5, let's say, but then there is a strong reply knight c4, e6, trying to win immediately, create some miniature game, and happily go home and relax before the next round. But knight e3, queen d3, and there are again some beautiful defenses like knight f1, rook f1, and or maybe knight takes f5 instead of knight f1, but maybe knight f1, rook f1, some rook f8. A lot of strange moves here, but it's kind of mathematical defense for black side, and it's still not easy to win this position as white. The point is that f takes c6 is threatening now, and then the rook will be exchanged after f takes g6. So great defense, but very hard to believe that this would be possible. So after e5, maybe, let's see what would be the most natural. Yeah, maybe some c takes d4, e6, gf, ef, queen f7, knight g3. Doesn't look too good as well, but it's a playable position, yeah? C takes d4, e6, gf, yeah, ef, queen f7. Some knight g3 and then king h8, yeah. Or instead of knight g3, knight f4, then knight c4. Well, it's kind of chances for black here. So let's point out that, after bishop takes d4, c takes d4, c5. So there were two ways for white. One is a4, and another one is queen d3 with more or less clear chances to win the game quite fast. Because position is very hard for black to keep. And, the knight is stuck there on b6, rook is stuck on a8, bishop on c8, so it's like very hard to play practically. And also objectively, as we saw, that the position is really bad for black. Okay, so I missed this. I played queen d2. I saw that I'm coming there, h6, f6 is coming. e5 will support this this march there on the king's flank and attack altogether on the black's king. But after queen d2, I simply missed a very important move. I saw that black will go maybe g takes f5. Then I can go some rook, let's say a1, yeah. That's what I saw actually during the game as well. Like c takes d4, some rook f3, everything will come up there. I'll break my pieces, position is hard. For example, one of the defenses that the computer suggests here is d3. Bishop takes, f takes, rook g3, king h8, queen c3, f6, bishop takes c4. Total domination by the white's player here, and everything is simply hanging. Well, just one pawn as a compensation for this, with all these pieces stuck there on the a8 and c8. It's just nothing. It's just bad for black. So yeah, so after queen d2, I've missed the very important move, and Jeffrey almost very fast he played this move. I think he almost instantly, maybe not instantly, but at least it felt like it was instant. Knight c4. Knight c4. So now after queen h6, black just goes bishop takes f5. Yeah. If e takes f5, queen takes e2. Yeah. Now if, let's say, rook a1 to play after queen c2, f6 and mate. But it's not as simple as this because of queen d2 simply, or queen h5. And black is doing very well. They're not worse. So after bishop takes f5, rook f4 can be played. But then just bishop d7. And unfortunately I cannot give any mate here, because for example if rook goes to h4, then just f5 is possible, or even f6, but f5 I think is stronger. And yeah, and black will just go queen g7 at some point, and maybe next move, and just position will be equal. So there is no attack. It's possible to go rook a f1, then f5, ef, bishop f5, bishop f5, gf, knight g3, trying to attack, but knight e3, trying to make white take on f5 with a knight and then just take back. And black is doing okay. So queen h6 doesn't work. I was extremely upset here. Also, I think visible on the video. Cursing myself for not playing anything else like queen d3, because I saw that queen d3 is a possibility, and I felt that it's kind of a strong move. But I saw that queen d2 is more direct, more straightforward, and leads to a winning position immediately, because black has to open up his king's position. So after knight c4, it was a very bad surprise for me. I went queen d3. Here Jeffrey could go for b5, one of the possibilities. Was not a bad move here. Was a good move actually. And instead he made a mistake, I think. He went knight d5. d5 was much stronger. Yeah. b5. Then probably white will go for d5, and we can get some kind of position like in the game. Some queen e5, rook a1 with unclear play. So yeah, instead he went for knight e5. And here I went queen a3. But certainly, once again, I want to point out that the whole concept with queen g3, knight f4 completely escaped my mind as kind of a winning possibility for white. So that it's possible, but I didn't see that. I mean, I couldn't believe that it's so good, you know, because after queen g3, knight f4, to me it seemed that black will just take the d4 pawn for nothing, and I was not sure how I'm going to win afterwards. So I saw that queen g3 is natural, you know, for the attacking players to play this queen g3 is natural because you bring the pieces more to the closer to the king and so on, rather than putting just the queen very far from the attack. But at the same time, exactly, I was not sure about this. I mean, I saw that I'm just giving up the pawn on d4. Yeah, still probably it was crossing my mind. I'm not losing. I didn't lose the first game, so it's not a complete must-win situation. So maybe I can just keep the tension still and so on. So queen g3 was the best move simply here. Yeah, again, this idea was the best. He takes d4, knight f4, and it's a huge advantage. I mean, yeah, I would think that black can go some queen d6, then bishop d7, c6, but they're simply not in time. I mean, they're not on time. So after queen d6, for example, bishop b3, and I'm attacking f7, g6. Well, yeah, it's close to winning. King h8, let's say takes, queen g5, queen h6. Yeah, it's very hard for black. It's very bad. Yeah, so after this, queen g3, I would have great chances. Even after the game, somehow didn't look much for this, but yeah, that was certainly the best way for white to proceed. Yeah, queen g3. So instead I went just queen a3. Nerves, exhaustion, and everything else. Certainly it was already a quarterfinals and a lot of pressure in games, also tie breaks and so on, probably they were telling here. And so I decided to go for queen a3, knight c4, and again queen g3 would be the best move. Even here, even with the best position of the black's knight on c4, much better than on e5 actually, because it's threatening to go to e3 after c takes after c takes d4. Still queen g3 would be the best move. C takes d4, knight f4 again. So I'm threatening this, and as usual, all of these things. So after knight f4, b5, then rook e1, and again queen g5, h4, h5, and so on. It's much better, much easier to play as white. Position is very close to huge advantage for white. Still. But I didn't believe in this idea at all. So I went queen c3. Yeah. And now he went b5. After this, it's already unclear who is going to be better soon. Because, you know, when you are looking at the position now, well, black is also having their trumps here. C takes d4, queen e5, bishop b7. There is not much of an attack there left now, without all the pieces like queen g3 and knight f4 coming up to make the black's king there, and you know, opening up all of the lines. Now the queen is far. Bishop on c2 is very passive. Knight on e2 is not yet moving to f4. d4 is hanging. So already I agree completely with computer's evaluation, even practically, that white's position is not better. It's just simply equal. This position is dynamically equal, but a lot of play is ahead. So again, even here, you will not believe it, but queen g3 was the best move, even with tempi down. C takes d4, and then knight f4. Even though with inclusion of b5 and the bishop coming to b7, it's already not winning for white. It's around equal. Yeah, and I decided to go still for some complications. I was a bit hesitant here, either to try to play for kind of equality, take some g6, play d5, and maybe equalize somewhere, or play for a fight. Decided to play for a fight. Finally, it paid off. You know, well, I mean, kind of. certainly, because at the moment when I went f6 and d5, I was not sure at all about my position. I saw that once he will establish the knight to e5, bishop on d7, rook on e8. I'll show you now. So after f6, queen d6, d5. Well, d5 is also possible, but then c takes d4. Queen c4 takes, and d3, I guess. Yeah, d3. Oh, black is much better here. They're not worse, at least. f6 pawn will be lost in a long run, and yeah, they're just better. So I went d5, and the position is still very complex here. Yeah, he went rook e8. Maybe the better way afterwards, we were looking at in the analysis room, we were looking at some knight e5 or bishop d7. So knight e5, just queen g3 maybe is possible. It's around equal, dynamically equal position. So after, let's say before, rook a1, bishop a6, some queen g5. Why not? Because I'm always going for some queen h6. So rook e8, bishop a4. This one is even bad for black. Let's say, hard to say what now. Because if knight d3, just bishop takes c8, rook takes c8, rook d1, knight b2, knight... Yeah, okay, let me show it. Takes, rook d1, knight b2, knight g3. And after knight takes d1, knight f5, queen e5, rook d1, then knight e7 is a threat, knight h6 is always in there, d6 and everything. It's winning for white. So certainly not like this for black. Instead, after instead of b4, maybe some rook e8. Protect the knight on e5, knight f4. Now the point is that if black takes on f6, there's knight h5 and knight f6. And if after knight f4 black goes for c4, then it's knight h5. Well, let's say rook b8 or a5, some knight g7, rook f8, rook a1. Unclear position simply, h4, h5, knight f5, queen g5, and also a lot of threats. So it's very, very unclear position. And one other move instead of this is bishop d7, let's say. So d5. Yeah, bishop d7, for example. Rook a1 again. Rook e8, trying to establish this blockade on e5. Knight f4. Knight f5. Queen g3. Always this queen g3 and knight f4, just in any position. So once you see kind of position like this without the bishop on g7, just go for queen g3 and knight f4. I'm sure you'll be fine. So h6, knight h5. With some king h7, knight g7, then rook f4, h4. Tricks like this. If some c4, just knight g7 as well again. And after king h7, black just wants to sacrifice this rook on e8 for this knight, annoying knight, and then go for some a5 before a4 and so on. But here again, rook f4 with a lot of tricks. For example, black goes, for example, g5, rook just goes back, and then h4, trying to attack, h6 is always hanging, and so on. So it's an attack for white. It's a very unclear position. Black has their tramps there on the queen's flank, moving the pawns, marching there before a5, a4, and so on. But white has the attack on the king's flank that compensates fully for this, and in general position is around equal, but a lot of fight is ahead. So that would be the best way for black to play this position, but instead, Jeffrey went for rook e8. And I think he missed my move after rook e8. So it's bishop d3. Bishop d3. Now he could go for knight b6, but already he didn't like it because he certainly wanted to put his knight on e5, and somehow on b6 knight is going just far from the main action there, and certainly it's more fun to put the knight on e5. Maybe that was the best way. And even after bishop takes b5, black can go just bishop d7. and they're not doing worse here. I mean, they're just fine. So a4, a6, then rook b8. And black is just doing fine with this blockading knight on e5. They're just fine. But the point is that after bishop d3, I think maybe from far, he saw that he can play knight e3. So he went knight e3. Bishop takes b5. It's important. Now if knight f1, there's bishop e8. Simply winning for white. If anything else, is there anything else? No, there's nothing else. Rook takes e4. Rook takes e4. Knight g3. This is important as well. Now, once again, if knight f1, there is just knight takes e4. And then white captures on f1. It's winning. So now it's a tricky move, knight g4. Yeah, so knight g4 is the only move, the tricky move, but the important one here. Otherwise, black is lost. Yeah, and here I think I've made a huge mistake in general. I had a move h3, and instead I went rook ac1, which seemed to me a very natural move here. So after knight g4, I mean, of course, just to show you, knight takes e4, it's just a mate on h2. So I went rook ac1, but the best move I think would be h3. Rook e3, queen d2. Now queen takes g3. H takes g4. Bishop takes g4. And white is playing here on domination because the king is stuck there on g8. f6 is totally cementing black's position. And the d pawn is ready to march at any time. And generally, white just goes here for rook a1. Rook e1, queen takes e1, queen d6, bishop c6, rook b8, queen e3, let's say h5, queen e7. Just trying to ask myself why not queen e7 immediately. But if queen e7 immediately, then queen g3. Oh, that's beautiful. Queen g3, and now after bishop e8, which wins with the inclusion of h5, now there is bishop e6. D takes e6, queen e3, and there is a check on h6. And with the inclusion of h5, there is no check on h6. So the position after bishop e8 is simply lost. So just show you the line. So the point is that queen e3, h5, queen e7, queen g3, and now I guess bishop e8. Yes, bishop e8 here wins. And there is no more bishop e6. I mean, there is. D takes e6, queen e3, and king goes to h1. White is winning. Okay, beautiful detail. But after h5, queen e7, rook d8, rook b1, and white is close to winning. So let's go back and see and find out that I didn't find this win. Instead I went rook ac1. Sorry, rook ac1. So rook ac1, and now after rook ac1 he could go rook e5, a very strong move. But as you understand already, we were not doing well. I mean, with our time here. I mean, it was kind of zeitnot for both sides. So after rook e5, I would go, let's say this, rook takes c5, bishop b7, some a4, a6, bishop c4, knight e3. Well, still some things to see for black here, for both sides actually. But, I mean, it's kind of close to equal. Rook f6, still some play, maybe some knight f1, but it's very close to equal. So, not so easy, of course. Not so easy. The whole line is not so easy for black to play this rook e5, first of all. A very unusual move, such situation as here. Rook e5, well, I mean, it's not easy to find. Yeah. So, Just a moment, I will load the engine again. Yeah, so yeah, so engine is not working. I put too much pressure on the engines here, and they're not ready for a lot of chess work. Okay, so yeah. So after rook ac1, rook e5 would give black chances to escape. Jeffrey went c4. It's a mistake. Now h3. Even though bishop takes... Yeah, no, bishop takes c4 is not that good because of... Yeah, bishop takes c4 was not that good because of some h5 as one of the possibilities. And what for actually to take this pawn if, I mean, they're attacking so much these pieces, you know, the queen c5 is coming, queen b6 is everywhere, it's threatening. I'm sure I was afraid already of some queen c5 checks. Why not queen c5 or queen b6, by the way? Yeah, because there is still king h1 and knight f2, rook f2, queen f2, knight e4. Yeah, simply the rook is hanging there, so what am I talking about? Yeah, that's why just after bishop takes c4, yeah, I mean, could go c4, bishop takes c4, but I was certainly afraid of some checks, some rook e3, queen c5, and all that stuff. But actually also h5 is very strong with the idea of h4, so very tricky for white. Yeah, but generally I didn't even consider this. I wanted to get rid as soon as possible of this knight on g4, so I went h3. Especially having not so much time to play with all these hanging threads around your king and so on, with all these pieces that are around there is not so pleasant, so h3 is just very natural. Also, I saw that he has almost only move here to play after h3. So he went... yeah, just a moment. Yeah, so here he went after h3. He surprised me. I didn't really think much about this move when I was calculating the position. Yeah, one of the possibilities was to play rook e3, queen c4, knight f6, queen c6, queen c6, bishop c6. That was my main calculations during the game. So after rook b8, rook f6, rook g3, rook e1. I thought I'm winning here because rook is coming to e7, d6, d7 is coming as well. And after king g7, just going back, bishop f5. Yeah, I remember I was looking at this line and analyzing this line during the game, thinking about it. And so after king h2, I thought I'm completely winning, but even though even to me now it seemed when I was even putting the line, I didn't understand what's the problem. So after king h2, rook c3, g4, there is bishop b1, rook e7, and now h5. Yeah, h5. And you know, king somewhere hides to h6. After g5, there is back bishop b5. There is a move bishop b5. Well, I mean, still the position is better for white after rook e takes f7, then g takes h5 and bishop d7. But I mean, certainly it's a hard defense to find. So yeah, I thought I'm winning there. I mean, somehow here, very close in this endgame. But actually, black is skipping by some super moves. The most super move out of all these super moves is rook c3 and bishop b1 idea. Yeah, and then h5. You know, it's kind of thing to find. You know, it's even after 3 hours of thinking, probably not so easy. So yeah, especially in time travel. So yeah, he went bishop b7. Sorry, instead of after h3 he went, instead of h3 he went bishop b7. I was very surprised, but it was also very unpleasant because a lot of tricks. I mean, everything is hanging. Queen c5 check is coming. You know, well, I mean, let's say he could go queen c5 here, but then just king h1. And now the point is that not only the knight is hanging, also the rook is hanging on e4, so it's winning for white. Yeah, so bishop b7. H takes g4. Okay, taking the knight. Why not? So he could go here queen c5, rook f2, rook f4. Attacking f2, also attacking, the bishop is attacked on b5. So rook cf1, rook f2, queen b5. It's bad for black, but still some chances. Queen c1, king h8, knight e4, rook g8. Trying to win the beauty prize for some best defense or something of the tournament. But now with knight c3 playing it positionally, queen c5, queen g5, let's say, protecting d5, queen d4, and they went back, queen d2. So after queen g4, white can go rook e2, rook e7, rook e2 and rook e7. And the position is close to winning. So this is also bad. So he went rook takes g4. After h takes g4. Here. He went rook takes g4. Bishop c6. Well, otherwise, for example, Compi suggests some bishop c4, rook g3, queen d2. Didn't cross my mind much. I saw that bishop c6 is more natural. Just trying to exchange the bishops and push my pawn to c7, rook on e1 on e7, and so on, or queen e4 e7, and so on, or rook d1 d7. And there are some mating nets around black's king, so it's easy to miss something as black here. So bishop c6. He went rook takes g3. After this, black is lost. But bishop takes c6 was possible. D takes c6, rook takes g3, queen takes c4. Rook d3, and now queen f4. It's very close to winning. Computer somehow still defends. Rook c8, let's say rook c2. Rook c2, let's say. One of the possibilities. Queen f4, maybe the most precise. Rook f4, a5, trying to protect against rook b4. And just rook f1, bringing the rook from b1. Yeah, it's winning for white. Seems to be winning, at least. Very close to winning, yeah. And yeah, so instead of this, he went rook takes g3. Rook takes g3. Queen takes c4. Now, if let's say black is going for rook c8, can also go queen f4 here simply. Also queen e4 is possible, but also queen f4. Again, getting all these endgames that are winning for white. Yeah. And so here we had both like kind of few minutes, I guess, around few minutes. But it's a very small amount of time when you're playing first from, coming from the classical to the blitz. Trying to switch from one format to the other is very hard. Also, the game is very important. So he went bishop a6. And I was kind of panicking here because I was starting to calculate lines. I was sure that queen takes a6 is winning. I was sure it's winning, but rook h3 is the beautiful defense. And now with like a minute on the clock or 2 minutes on the clock, you would have to find a way to win this position, which is kind of study-like, with all the threats all around your king, all these checks. You should find the best way not to miss the win here. And the rook is also will come from b8 to b2 with all these checks and so on. And finally, even in our analysis after the game, we have found that the win here, after some tries, after a lot of mistakes, after many times allowing even black to win the game, actually here. So we have found that the way is to play queen c4. We found it without engine and by analyzing this position. So queen h2, king f2, queen g3, king e2. Now it's possible to play rook h2, but then d6, Bishop protects g2. Rook e8, king d2. Queen d6, queen d3. Queen b4, rook c3. But I would have to understand all of this to see it from far. For example, even here it's still not the end. If some tricky rook b8 is possible, still it's winning. Some bishop d5 and bishop takes f7 and so on, but still my king is in the center. Rook h4, rook d4, all the threats are still there. But yeah, it's winning. But I mean, bishop d5 takes f7, then c4, then after some rook h4 goes to g4, attacks g2, then g3. I mean, it's winning, but you know, it's easy to say when you're here supported by the engine. Beside that, we at some point saw that, yeah, right here, instead of rook h2, queen e3 is possible. We sort were getting this draw as black, king d1, rook h4, but there is a super beautiful way. I think maybe there is a video from the post-mortem there when we analyzed this position, and we found that, yeah, actually Compi says that g4 is possible here, and it's probably winning as well, but queen b3 wins the game. Still a lot of tricks to look for and to neutralize, but still it's a winning move. Queen b3 is very important, because otherwise queen takes h4, just queen d3, and it's a draw. Yeah, so queen b3. Somehow an easy move to miss. Yeah. So, for example, just to show you one last line, after queen b3, rook d4. Queen b3, rook d4. d4, king c2. Yeah. Rook d2, king b1, queen e4. And king a1. And it's should be winning. Still a lot of tricks, still, but winning. Yeah. So instead of this, I've decided to go queen f4, and I think that was the right decision. I think it's much more practical. So I finally decided not to take, because I mean, I wanted to take it so much, because I mean, just taking the bishop, it seems to be winning and should be winning. And it's so close to the semi-final here. But finally I decided that I may not control all of these checks, rooks flying around the board and attacking my king. So I will go for queen f4. Queen f4, rook d8. Here I was completely winning if I would find queen h6, queen f8, just takes f8, takes, and rook fd1. Oh, sorry, just Compi says some rook takes f8, I don't know why. Okay, so queen f8, queen f8. Okay, if king f8, simply rook fe1, rook e7, and it's winning. Rook e1, d6, e7 is hanging as well. It's just winning. If rook f8, just rook fd1, and d6, d7. White is winning. So instead, I saw that rook ce1 just wins the same, more or less, and just black will take on f4. Why not? Rook ce1, of course. The point is that if black takes where? On f1, let's say, just take here, and rook e8 mate. Yeah, so queen c5 check was played in the game. King h2 was possible, was also winning. Rook f2 is the best move. Rook c3, trying to find some ideas here to somehow defend. And again, of course, had to play for this domination, especially with this pawn on f6. Just take, king f8, rook b2, h5, some rook eb1, penetrating on the 8th rank, just completely winning for white. Yeah, I was in Zeit knot, and I went rook e7. That seemed completely winning as well, just closing this way for the queen to defend on g7 and threatening queen h6. So rook e7. But now Jeffrey had the last chance. So he went rook c1, which is losing by force, immediately losing the game. Rook c2 was the chance. After which, I'm sure I would go for something like queen e3. So let's say queen e3, rook takes e3, rook c1, let's say king h2, h5, rook e7, bishop c4, rook d2, supporting the d-pawn, rook d6, bishop e8, rook f1, bishop takes f7, king f8, bishop takes g6 is also winning, but rook d4 wins easily here after bishop takes a2, rook takes a7, and the position is just completely winning. Then bishop f7 collecting the pawns, and yeah, let's say, okay, I'll show you till the end. Okay, 7, bishop, let's say b3, bishop f7, yeah, bishop b3, bishop f7. After king h7, guess black is just lost. Yeah, rook b4 is a strong move here as well. Some bishop c2, bishop e6, and then king h6 and f7. So if immediately after king h7 some bishop e6, king h6, and now if f7, there is rook takes e6. That's why important was to play rook b4. But okay, there were other moves that were winning, but I mean, it's just the most precise way according to computer. Certainly no need to play this. There were other wins as well on the way, certainly. But I mean, this would be a bit still some kind of fight and resistance that would be shown by Jeffrey, but instead he went for the rook c1 check. Yeah, rook c1 check, and well, just king h2. He went rook c3, just probably automatically, and didn't see what to do. And the time was ticking there, in position completely lost. Queen h6. And after, for example, queen, I mean, black can't take because there is a mate, but after queen d6, just king g1, there is no check on c1 because of queen takes c1, and white wins. So after queen h6, Jeffrey resigned. I did a lot of analysis on this game, maybe even more than I expected, but certainly there are a lot of exciting lines, so hopefully you like it. And yeah, it was very nice to go through the game. So to see all these lines is very complicated, to be honest. I mean, I didn't even expect when I started to analyze, and even during the game, when now I'm analyzing some stuff that interests me during the analysis for the video. Well, a lot of stuff is very, very unclear with unusual moves and all this, a lot of sequences of unusual ways. Even the last line that I was showing with this rook before, and so on. A lot of nice tactics and a lot of nice tactical positions and complications to see in this game. And yeah, it was very interesting to look at it. Very happy that I did this game, and it was very interesting for me as well. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel, hit the bell to be notified about the new videos, and we're going to look later on. We'll see when I have a bit more time to look at the other World Cup matches. Let's say the next one is against Vasily Graf in the semifinals, and then it's Dingliren, and there are a lot of games to see there. So I'll try to concentrate on these two matches in the next videos. Thank you very much once again, and stay tuned. Bye bye, my friends.